Hi, I'm Linda from North County. And could you introduce yourself?
I'm John Pharr, and I'm a patron of the library.
Good. Okay. I guess we'll get started. Where did you grow up?
I am what I call a 3B Rockhillian. Bred, born, and brung up.
Oh, wow. What are your first memories?
I guess my first memories are with my family. I was the seventh of 8 children that my mother and father brought into the world. 7 of us grew to adulthood. And unfortunately, at present, I'm the only one that's living.
Oh. Okay, you're looking at me. What kinds of work have you done for a living?
I guess basically I have been a military officer. I was in the Air Force for 6 years. I taught school off and on for the better part of 8 years. And I pride myself on the fact that I taught at elementary, high school, college, and seminary.
Wow.
And of course my primary, I guess you say, job has been as a minister of the Presbyterian Church in the United States
Wow.
of America.
Wow. Were you always interested in ministry?
That may take the whole of this interview. No, interestingly enough, my father, who was an elder in the church, did not want any of his children to even think about going to the ministry. And so as a result of that, when I went to college, I majored in chemistry and minored in math and stayed away from religion. As time went along, especially during the time that I was stationed overseas, Mom took sick. And I remember that being 10,000 miles away from her at the time that she needed me was not what I wanted. So I suppose you might say I drew a bargain with God. I said, let Mom live until I get back to the States, and I'll go into the ministry. That sounds flippant, but basically that's what happened. It was one of those moments of truth that I had to confront. And Mom always wanted me to go, wanted one of her children to go to the ministry. Daddy didn't. As it turned out, she died before I finished theological training. He lived for 2 years afterwards. And on one occasion, I was the guest minister at our home church. Someone said to him, how about John Lucius? And Dad said, you know, it's just too bad Beulah, that was my mother's name, wasn't here to hear him. And one of her dear friends said, she heard him better than you did.
Wow. How did you meet your wife?
And that brings in one of the most interesting characters in my life. When I grew up in Rock Hill, there were only 2 library branches. That is to say, the colored one and the white one. The colored one was a big, abandoned 2-story house on South Trade Street. And the librarian was named Mrs. Anna M. Cloud. I think it was foretold that somehow or other I would become interested in the library work, because she had to pass our house on the way to work, and she walked. It was 1.5 miles between her house and the library branch. And it was a big, scary house. And I always felt sorry for her. And on those occasions I go up there sometimes to spend the afternoon with her or walk her home. She got to talking about, John Lucius, when you gonna get married? And I said, why should I? And she said, all those fine young ladies down there, Miss Scott. That was the high school where I went. And I said, well, I haven't met any of them yet. She went about finding some way for us to get together. And I guess it worked. We've been married 58 years now, so.
Wow.
But I always blame Mrs. Cloud for that.
She wasn't just a librarian.
No, as a matter of fact, there was an interesting thing about her. For her to walk to her job, she had to pass through what was sort of the black business district in Rock Hill. But it was a combination residential and business. And there were some interesting children who lived in those houses. And they gave her a nickname, the Book Woman.
Book woman.
There goes the Book Woman. So, but she and I had so many wonderful times together. Her husband was an invalid, but an ideal watchmaker and watch repair person. And he died before both of them died while I was in Washington, and I didn't get back to their funerals. But she was one of the most interesting persons I've ever known. Influential in every way.
Wow. Do you have kids and grandkids?
Yes, and I guess this is one of those where there's a question about the saddest down there later on.
Oh.
My wife and I had one son, and we reared two daughters. These daughters were our grand nieces. The interesting thing about it was they came into our lives when they were approximately 2.5 and 4 years of age. Them coming into our family came as a result of neglect on the part of their parents. Their parents were separated, eventually divorced. And several times my wife asked me about taking them in. And it wasn't until their uncle called and told us that one of the store owners had complained about them taking cookies out of the cookie jar, and that they had been doing it so long that he thought he needed to take action. So I yielded to my wife's request and we took them in. We reared them as our daughters. We never adopted them, but they started calling us mom and dad, I guess within 2 months after they came to live with us. The saddest moment in my life was that the younger of the two of them was murdered brutally. I guess the medical examiner said that there were some 80 stab wounds that she suffered from. Her older child, she had 2 children, a son and a daughter. We have a son still with us. The daughter, who's 8 years younger than he, is now a freshman in college down in Atlanta.
Wow.
Our son has 2 of his daughters, 2 daughters. Both of them have finished college. One from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and the other from the University of Hartford in Connecticut. And the interesting thing about this was their graduations were the same weekend.
Wow.
The one from UMS was on Friday, and the one from Connecticut was Sunday. And I was able to make both of them. The daughter who's still living also has 2 children. They're sons. So whenever I get asked that question, I say we have 2 children and 6 grands. Even though the daughters legally are not ours, but There are more ways in have relations and legalities and so forth. But they grew up as our children. We're happy
In your
about
hearts,
that.
they're your children.
Pardon?
In your hearts, they're your children. So
Oh,
that's all
yeah,
that
yeah.
matters more than